She was just a single mom working as a maid to pay off a crushing debt. He was the billionaire heir who kissed her in front of everyone, then demanded she pay him back with kisses. But when Leah accidentally uncovered a secret from the past, everything changed. From betrayal and power plays to an unexpected truth about her daughter's father, this story will break your heart and piece it back together. Who is Damian Kingston really, and what is he willing to risk for love? Where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Leah Torres adjusted her apron and tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, trying her best to ignore the giggles echoing through the grand marble kitchen of the Kingston estate. Clara and Ivy, two of the more outspoken housemaids, were whispering animatedly by the sink. "You think he's really as hot as the photos?" Clara asked, tossing a smirk over her shoulder. Ivy rolled her eyes with a dramatic sigh. "Girl, that man is a walking sin. Those cheekbones alone should be illegal." Leah smiled faintly, scrubbing a plate harder than necessary. She had heard the rumors too. Damian Kingston, the elusive heir of the Kingston Empire, was finally returning home after months abroad. The entire mansion had erupted in gossip and frantic preparations since the news broke. Every cushion fluffed, every surface polished to mirror perfection. All because the prodigal son was coming back. "You know," Ivy leaned toward her conspiratorially, "he's single now. Dumped that model fiancé? Cold feet at the altar, they say. What a waste." Clara cackled. "Not a waste if he decides to fall for one of us instead." She wiggled her brows suggestively, then turned to Leah. "What about you, Torres? You've been here, what, a year? Ever caught a glimpse of him?" Leah shook her head without looking up. "Only pictures. He's never been home since I started." Clara gave her a playful shove. "Well then, lucky you. You're about to get your first look at royalty in the flesh." Leah didn't respond. She didn't need to. Her insides were already a swirl of nerves. Not because she was excited. Damian Kingston was just another rich man who probably didn't know how to say please or thank you, but because she hated the fuss, the attention, the possibility of being noticed. Miss Veronica, the estate matriarch and Damian's mother, had taken a liking to Leah when she was hired, but even that came with strings. Leah owed the family a debt, a hefty one, for medical bills they'd helped cover when her daughter, Emmy, was hospitalized with pneumonia the previous winter. She'd been repaying it with every grueling shift, every sleepless night, every chore taken without complaint. That debt was a chain around her ankle, and it tightened every time someone reminded her who she worked for. Miss Tanya, the head housekeeper, suddenly entered the kitchen, her heels clicking against the tile like gunshots. "Everyone, gather around," she barked. "Mr. Damian has arrived. We're preparing for tonight's welcome dinner. Everything must be flawless. That includes your behavior." Clara nudged Leah again, whispering, "Try not to drool when you see him." Tanya's sharp gaze swept over them. "Leah," she said, "I know you're off duty tonight, but I need you to do one thing before you leave. You'll bring Mr. Damian's dinner to his room." Leah blinked. "Me?" "Yes, one of the newer servers dropped out with a migraine. I trust you to be professional." Clara instantly raised her hand. "I can do it instead, Miss Tanya. I mean, I don't mind." Tanya cut her off with a cold glare. "Did I ask for volunteers?" Leah's pulse quickened, but she nodded. "Yes, Miss Tanya, I'll take care of it." The tray she prepared 30 minutes later felt like it weighed 100 pounds. Her fingers trembled slightly as she balanced the sterling silver domes and crystal water pitcher. She made her way up the staircase slowly, the mansion growing eerily silent as she reached the second floor, where Damian's suite awaited. She stood outside the heavy wooden door, heart pounding. "Good evening, Mr. Damian," she called out, knocking twice. "Your dinner is here." Silence. She knocked again, louder. "Sir?" Still no answer. "I'm coming in," she said quietly, pushing the door open. It was dim inside, the thick curtains still drawn. The air was cool and fragrant with expensive cologne. She stepped in cautiously, spotting the large bed, a tailored blazer draped across the foot of it. Then she saw the bathroom door swing open, steam billowing out. And there he was, towel in one hand, drying his hair completely nude. Her breath caught. She froze, eyes widening before she could stop them from dropping, then shot back up in horror. He caught her reaction and smirked. "Enjoying the view?" I didn't see anything," she stammered, turning around so fast she almost dropped the tray. I was told to bring your food. He took a step closer, voice teasing. You sure you don't want a better look, Clara? Her stomach twisted. He remembered the name she'd thrown out. It's Leah, she whispered before thinking. He smiled slowly. Now we're getting somewhere. She backed away, cheeks flaming, and all she wanted, desperately, was to run. But she couldn't. Not yet. Not with her debt. The music at the poolside party thumped hard enough to rattle the glass panels of the Kingston estate. Champagne flowed freely, the scent of grilled seafood and laughter thick in the air, but Leah Torres couldn't enjoy any of it. Her mind was still trapped in that moment. Damien Kingston's bare skin, that smirk, and the way he said her name like it was a secret, only he now held. She hadn't meant to tell him the truth. It had just slipped out, and now she felt exposed in more ways than one. Balancing a tray of empty glasses, she weaved her way through the crowd. Guests in designer swimwear lounged by the pool, some flirting with Damien, who sat at the far end with a few women draped over the chaise beside him. Leah avoided looking in his direction altogether. She just wanted to finish her shift and disappear into the background again, like always. Unfortunately, the universe had other plans. As she turned, a tipsy woman in towering heels and a tiny gold swimsuit stumbled into her. The tray clattered to the ground, a splash of juice staining the woman's pristine outfit. "Oh my God," the woman shrieked, staggering back. Her eyes locked on Leah like a hawk spotting prey. "What have you done?" "I'm sorry," Leah said quickly, kneeling to pick up the glasses. "You bumped into me." "Are you blaming me now?" the woman snapped, yanking Leah's elbow before she could finish. "You think just because you're the help, you get to ruin my dress and then lie about it?" "I didn't lie," Leah said calmly. "Please let go of me." The woman's expression twisted. "You arrogant little—" She reached for Leah's hair, yanking a fistful of it, and suddenly the world spun. Leah lost her balance and stumbled toward the pool's edge. The scream came too late. Her body hit the water with a splash that silenced half the party. She flailed, panic rising fast. The weight of her soaked uniform dragged her down. She wasn't a strong swimmer, had never learned properly. Her lungs burned as she kicked, struggling to stay above the surface. Then strong arms wrapped around her, pulling her up from the cold depths. She gasped for breath, choking and clinging to whoever had saved her. As her vision cleared, she realized her rescuer was Damien Kingston himself. "What are you doing?" the gold swimsuit woman shrieked from the edge. "You weren't supposed to jump in after the maid." Leah tried to push away, but Damien didn't let go. "Sir," she whispered, water dripping from her hair. "Thank you for saving me, but You're welcome," he said smoothly, tightening his grip. "Or should I say, Clara?" Her eyes widened, her breath caught. "I'm your job now," he added with a lazy smirk. "I have actual work to do," she said, trying again to wiggle free. "You don't have any other work," Damien replied. "From now on, I'm your work." Gasps echoed around them. Some of the guests were openly staring, others whispering behind their wine glasses. Leah's body tensed. The heat of embarrassment crawled up her throat. "I'm getting out of the pool," she muttered, finally managing to twist away. She swam toward the ladder, climbed out, and straightened her wet clothes as best she could. Her limbs trembled, her mind racing. Before she could walk away, Damien caught up, grabbing her wrist just outside the pool. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice suddenly serious. "I told you. I want your real name this time," he cut in, eyes fixed on her. "No lies." Leah met his gaze, breathing hard. The game was over. He knew it, and so did she. "It's Leah," she said quietly. His eyes didn't leave hers. "I knew you weren't like the others." She snatched her hand away. "And you're not exactly my type either. Stay out of my business, Mr. Kingston." He raised an eyebrow but didn't press. Not yet. That night, Leah couldn't sleep. Her daughter Emmy slept soundly beside her, arms wrapped around a plush bunny. But Leah's mind kept replaying the kiss, the one Damien had stolen from her in front of everyone. She hadn't expected it, hadn't wanted it, but she'd felt something stir in that moment, something she hated to admit, something she couldn't afford to feel. The next morning, her phone rang just as she was pouring cereal for Emmy. She answered groggily. "Leah, it's Tanya," the voice said, sharp with stress. "Damien's refusing to take his fever meds unless you're the one to give them to him." Leah blinked. "What? That's ridiculous." I know, Tanya hissed, but he's demanding you. He's in a mood. Please, just come. Leah stared at her daughter's smile, felt the weight of her debt settle on her chest like a stone, and knew she had no choice. Leah stood at the door to Damien Kingston's suite, gripping a small tray with a glass of water and a bottle of fever medicine. Her pulse thrummed hard in her ears. She didn't want to be here. Not after everything. Not after that kiss, that public humiliation, and especially not after waking up to the ghost of his lips still burning on hers. But Tanya had sounded desperate on the phone. Damien was in a foul mood, threatening to fire anyone who refused him. And Leah? She couldn't afford to lose this job. With a deep breath, she knocked softly. "Mr. Kingston? I brought your medicine." No answer. She turned the knob gently and stepped inside. The room was dark again, save for a stream of sunlight slicing through the partially drawn curtains. Damien was lying in bed, shirtless, his face flushed and his damp hair curling slightly against his forehead. He looked up as she entered, his eyes glassy with fever but still piercing. "Took you long enough," he murmured, voice husky. Leah walked in, setting the tray down on the nightstand. "I came as fast as I could. Tanya said you were unwell." He gave a dry chuckle. "I'm not dying, just annoyed. And hot. Very hot." "I'm sure you are," she said under her breath, not meaning to sound sarcastic. He caught it anyway and grinned. "Feisty again. I like that." Leah straightened. "I'm here because I was told to bring your medication. That's all. I have responsibilities, Damien. A child. I don't have time for games." His grin faded slightly. "You keep saying that, like being a mother somehow disqualifies you from being wanted." She blinked, thrown by the softness in his tone. "I never said that. You didn't have to." He sat up a bit, wincing. "Did you hate the kiss?" Leah's face flushed instantly. "It was inappropriate, that's what it was. You kissed me in front of everyone like I was nothing." He frowned. "That's not what I meant. I wasn't trying to make fun of you. It just happened. I don't know why. You slapped me and I still can't get it out of my head." She turned to go, flustered. "I'm not here to entertain your whims. I'm just trying to pay off a debt and keep my daughter safe. That's it." He rose from the bed, now towering beside her. "That debt? You know it doesn't have to stay that way." She froze. "What do you mean?" Damien stepped closer. "I have a deal for you, Leah. Become my personal maid. Exclusive. You won't have to scrub floors or serve anyone else. You'll have time off to be with your daughter whenever you want." Leah narrowed her eyes. And in return, he looked at her mouth, then back into her eyes. "Every kiss knocks $5,000 off your debt." Her breath caught. "What? You owe 10,000, right?" he continued calmly. "That's 2,000 kisses. Simple math." She took a step back. "You're insane. I'm offering you a way out, a fast one. You don't have to do anything more. No sex, no strings, just kisses. That's all I ask." "That's still messed up," she snapped, trembling. "You're using your money to give you a choice," he interrupted. "That's more than most people would do. You want to keep struggling for years, paying bit by bit, watching your daughter grow up while you're stuck in this house? Or do you want to be free in a few months?" Leah clenched her fists, her heart thundering. She thought of Emmy, how the little girl beamed every time Leah managed to make it home early, how her cheeks glowed when she showed off her perfect math scores. Leah thought of how tired her mother looked after taking care of her granddaughter night after night. "I'll do it," she said quietly, "but I want it in writing. No touching beyond that. You don't control my life outside of this ridiculous deal." Damien's lips curved into a satisfied smile. "Deal." Without warning, he stepped forward, leaned in, and kissed her. It was slow, deliberate, meant to test her resolve. Leah shut her eyes and let it happen, her body stiff but her mind racing. Only 199 to go. The arrangement began like a silent contract inked with tension. Leah became Damien's personal maid. No dusting, no mopping, no breakfast service. Just her, standing nearby when he called, walking beside him at times, and fulfilling his odd request of kisses like they were currency. She never counted aloud, but she kept track in her head. Each moment of contact, a complicated blend of resentment, confusion, and something else she was afraid to name. Surprisingly, he never crossed the line. Damien kept his word. No touching beyond the kisses, no pressure for anything more. Sometimes he kissed her gently in the hallway, sometimes at night on the balcony when no one was around. Other times, it was impulsive, a quick brush of lips as he passed her a glass, or when she handed him his schedule. Each one unsettled her, not just because they were intimate, but because of the way he looked at her afterward, like he was searching for something. The staff noticed the change quickly. Clara and Ivy were the first to comment. "You've been glowing lately," Ivy teased one morning as they arranged centerpieces in the dining hall. "Must be all that personal maid privilege." Leah rolled her eyes. "I sleep less than ever. Glow my ass." Clara leaned in with a mock gasp. "That's not sleep deprivation, that's love bites." Leah covered her mouth reflexively, cheeks pink. "I bit my lip on accident," she muttered. The other women laughed, but their jokes stung more than she let on. They didn't know the truth. None of them knew how complicated it all really was. They saw luxury and access. What Leah felt was something far messier, like she was being pulled into a current she hadn't agreed to swim in. Things escalated when Damien asked her out. Not a meeting, not a kiss, a real date. She stood frozen by the bottom of the staircase as he walked toward her, a paper bag dangling from his fingers. "What's that?" she asked warily. "Your outfit." "For what?" "Our afternoon." "I have work." "Not today," he interrupted. "You work for me, and today I'm giving you time off." He handed her the bag and gestured to his car. "Get changed, I'll wait." Leah opened the bag to find a short red dress, elegant but snug, and a pair of clean white flats. Her mouth dropped open. "I can't wear this. It's too much, and we're not." "You look beautiful in red," Damien said, not bothering to hide his smile. "You don't trust me?" "I don't even know what this is," she replied, holding the dress away like it might burn her. "It's a chance to feel like you," he said simply. "Not like a maid, not like a debtor. Just Leah." Reluctantly, she changed in the backseat of the tinted car, blushing at every movement, every soft brush of fabric against her skin. When she stepped out, Damien's eyes lingered. "You really don't make it easy to stay composed," he murmured. They drove in silence for a while until he parked in front of an upscale mall. A restaurant on the top floor, a movie theater with plush velvet seats. And everywhere he went, he treated her like she belonged. Pulled out her chair, laughed at her jokes, even wiped a smudge of lipstick from her cheek without a word. "You're not what I expected," Leah said quietly over dessert. "Neither are you," Damien replied. "I thought you'd be fragile, but you're stronger than anyone I've ever met." She tried not to soften. She tried not to smile too much. But when they watched a romantic comedy together, and he laughed out loud with his whole chest, she found herself laughing too. It was easy. Too easy. When they returned to the estate, the car barely stopped before Ivy's voice rang out from the hallway. "Leah, are you in there?" Damien grabbed her hand and yanked her into the bathroom, shutting the door just as footsteps echoed past. "What are you?" she started. He pressed a finger to her lips, then kissed her like he hadn't since the arrangement started. Longer, deeper, full of something that made her knees wobble. She pulled back, breathless. "I still have work," she whispered. "You are my work," he whispered back. "I have a child, Damien." He paused. "I want to meet her." That stopped her. You do?" He nodded. "She's a part of you. How could I not want to?" For the first time in weeks, Leah didn't think about the debt, or the contract, or the number of kisses left. She thought, just for a moment, about what it would be like to have something real. The estate buzzed with a new kind of tension. Mrs. Veronica Kingston was returning from her trip abroad, and everyone knew what that meant. No more reckless parties, no more impromptu days off, and certainly no more public kisses between the heir of the Kingston name and a housemaid. Leah had been on edge for days. Damien hadn't officially said a word about their relationship, but everyone could see the shift. The way he smiled when she walked by. The way he reached for her hand without thinking. The way he asked about her daughter like he already belonged in her life. But all that warmth froze the moment the black car pulled up the estate's gravel drive. Leah stood with the other staff in a neat line at the entrance, head bowed, palms damp. Beside Mrs. Veronica stepped out a tall, elegant woman in a navy dress, heels clicking against the pavement like a drumbeat of expectation. Her hair was flawless, her jewelry subtle and expensive. She walked like she'd practiced marrying into wealth her whole life. "That must be the new fiancé," Ivy whispered next to Leah. Clara let out a low whistle. "She's stunning." Leah said nothing. Her throat had closed. Inside, Damien greeted his mother with restrained politeness, offering only a brief handshake to the woman beside her. "Elizabeth," he said curtly, eyes already scanning the crowd. Then he saw Leah. She was trying to disappear into the kitchen with a tray, but he moved fast, catching her wrist before she could vanish. "Damien," his mother hissed, "what are you doing with a housemaid?" The room went dead quiet. Leah felt every eye on her, every judgmental breath. "I'm doing this," Damien said clearly, interlacing his fingers with hers, "because she's the one I love." A collective gasp rippled through the room. Elizabeth's smile faded. Veronica's face turned red. "You can't be serious," she snapped. "This girl, this woman, you don't even know her." Damien stepped in front of Leah like a shield. "I know her better than anyone else here, and I know what I want." "She owes us money," Veronica shouted, losing composure. "She has a child whose father is nowhere in sight. She's used you." "I'll pay the debt," Damien interrupted, voice cold. "Every cent. I don't care. And if you try to hurt her or her daughter again, you'll answer to me." Leah couldn't breathe. Her hand trembled in his. Veronica turned to Elizabeth, who looked mortified. "Come, we're leaving." Damien didn't stop them. He turned to Leah instead. "Come with me." Outside in the quiet of the side garden, surrounded by wind-chimed silence, Damien let go of her hand, only to take her face gently in his palms. "I'm sorry," he said. "I know that was a lot, but I meant it." "She's right, Damien," Leah whispered. "I'm not the kind of woman your family wants. I don't care about what they want. I care about you. I'm a single mom. I'm a maid." "You're Leah," he said simply. "You're brave and loyal, and you make me laugh when I haven't smiled in days. You don't see it, but you saved me." Tears stung her eyes. "I love you," she admitted, voice cracking. "I tried not to, but I do." He pulled her into his arms and held her tight. "Then let me in. Let me meet your daughter. Let me be part of her life." She nodded into his shoulder. But reality crept back fast. That night, Leah couldn't sleep. She tried to distract herself by packing a small bag for a weekend trip she'd promised Emmy. They'd visit her late father's hometown, just the two of them. Maybe time away would clear her head. As they were about to leave the next morning, Leah's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. "Leah Torres?" a cold voice asked. "Yes. This is Veronica Kingston. Meet me in person. I'm texting you the address. Don't make me wait." The call ended before she could protest. "Mom?" Emmy asked, wide-eyed. "Are we still going?" Leah forced a smile. "Yes, baby, just a quick detour first." At the restaurant, Veronica didn't waste time. "I'll make this short. Name your price." Leah blinked. "What? To disappear? You want money? I'll give you money. You want protection? Fine, but you will not ruin my son's future." "I'm not leaving him," Leah said calmly, "and I'm not for sale." Veronica's lips curled. "Then be ready for war." She stood and left, leaving a thick envelope on the table. Leah didn't touch it. She went home, picked up Emmy, and boarded the next bus out of town. But Damien wasn't done. 2 days later, he knocked on the door of her cousin's countryside home with a DNA test in hand. "I know now," he said. "Emmy's mine." Leah stared at the paper in his hand, then at his face. "You remember that night?" "I never forgot." And in the quiet that followed, something old and buried between them bloomed into truth. This was never about a debt. This was about fate. Sometimes, love finds us in the most unexpected places, through mistakes, misunderstandings, or even obligations. Leah's journey shows us that dignity, resilience, and love can coexist even when the world tries to convince us otherwise. She was a single mother fighting to survive, burdened by debt and judgment. Damien, on the other hand, seemed to have it all: wealth, status, power, but lacked emotional connection and truth. When their worlds collided, what started as a power imbalance evolved into something real: vulnerability, growth, and unconditional love. This story reminds us that we are not defined by our past or our circumstances. True love isn't built on perfection. It's built on acceptance, effort, and the willingness to fight for someone beyond what society deems acceptable. Damien didn't just fall for Leah. He chose her despite everything, and she, in turn, opened her heart to a future she never thought she deserved. Even Mrs. Kingston, hardened by pride, found transformation through the innocent love of a child. The lesson here is simple, yet powerful. Never underestimate the value of someone's heart based on their title, background, or mistakes. Love has the power to heal, to change, and to redefine what family truly means. Where are you watching this story from? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if this story moved you, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next emotional journey. Thank you for being here.